I was just about to release a gigantic video today breaking down One Punch Man Season 2 and what we can expect. I've been working on it for a few days, and what do you know? One Punch Man Season 2 PV number 2 just dropped today, a 2-minute new trailer for One Punch Man Season 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this frame by frame, and we're going to break down exactly what's going on here. And FYI, there will be major spoilers coming up in this video and for what's to come in One Punch Man Season 2. So, the very opening shot, we actually get King with Saitama right here. And pretty much what happens is, so I'll have to explain King to you guys. So pretty much in the very first episode of One Punch Man Season 2, we're going to get introduced to King, more of his personality. We did see him a little bit in, I believe it was episode 10 of One Punch Man Season 1, when he's sitting at the table with all the other heroes. But King is known as the world's strongest man. But the thing is, he actually doesn't have any powers. So pretty much, he's like S rank number 7. And the reason why he's ranked so high is because pretty much every time that Saitama defeats some gigantic enemy, some big monster, they contribute it to King because he's just like in that general area. And they're like, oh, King must have been the one that beat it. So literally, like, King has Saitama's, like, all the recognition for his strength and his feats and everything like that. And if he has any powers, the only thing he actually has is superior luck, because this dude literally just gets away with everything. Like, he doesn't even want to be a hero, really. He just gets so lucky in every single situation. He uses, like, intimidation just with his rank to scare enemies away sometimes, or he just runs away and somebody else ends up defeating the enemy for him, and then, he pretty much just gets contributed to the victory. Now, right here, pretty much what happens in the very first episode, King runs away from a monster, which we actually do see later on in this, and I'll talk about that. But he runs away from a monster that Genos ends up fighting, and Saitama goes after this guy. They have a really funny exchange, because King is like, how did you get up here? And Saitama's like, your window was open. And King is like, this is like the 120th floor. And so pretty much Saitama is here questioning King, like, why did you run away? Saitama knows that pretty much King is a fraud, and this giant bird monster comes in and attacks. And it's actually pretty cool because Saitama just like catches it with one hand, like a total you'll see this in a second right here. So this is really exciting. And pretty much, you know, One Punch Man, he's like God mode. This giant bird monster comes in to try and attack King, and Saitama just catches it with one hand, and then he just can like one punch this thing and just create a giant hole in King's apartment. Which, they don't show the punch, and I hate that they're doing this flashing stuff. So what they're trying to do here is they're trying to like make the animation longer than it actually is by adding these like blank black frames in between the animation, which is like really annoying. I don't know why they did that for the trailer. I'd seriously doubt that's actually going to be in the physical animation for the actual season. But in this trailer, they're like breaking apart pieces of footage with these like black flashing lights. It's just, I don't know, it hurts my eyes. But here we see pretty much Saitama just punched this gigantic bird monster out of the sky. So guess who's going to get the recognition for that? It's going to be King. They're going to give King the clout for taking down the giant bird monster. One Punch Man Season 2. Okay, so now we're getting some voice clips of Garo, who is actually voiced by Hikaru Midorikawa, who is the voice of Tien and Android 16. So we have a Dragon Ball Z voice actor coming in here to voice Garo, who is an incredibly exciting character. I can't wait to see this guy in action. Okay, so here's Garo. So Garo, and I'll explain more about him in my video coming up, which I'll probably release tomorrow, which is the One Punch Man Season 2 What to Expect video. Make sure you watch that, because it's going to be a crazy breakdown of exactly what you're gonna expect from the entire season. So Garo is pretty much, he's an anti-villain. And what he does is he wants to go, he's called the hero hunter. So he doesn't like have the traditional properties of a regular monster or regular villain, but he is a bad guy. And he wants to defeat all of the S-rank heroes. He wants recognition in his own way, as being like the strongest villain, the man who can defeat all the S-rank heroes. He is the prodigy and an apprentice of Bang, also known as White Fang, the old man who uses the flowing water crushing rock technique, which he also knows how to use that technique, but he pretty much like scared away all the other martial artists from Bang's dojo and went on his own way. And he actually does have some encounters with Bang, but Bang is still stronger than him for the most part. But Garo, you'll see throughout the season, maybe season 3 as well, throughout all these fights, he has some legendary fights, some dream fights come up. It's going to be super exciting. He fights against Metal Bat. He fights against Tank Top Master. He fights against Watchdog Man. He doesn't win all of his fights, but as he fights, he gets progressively stronger and stronger as his character develops. And that's part of the reason why I love this character so much, is he always puts himself in like the face of adversity, whether he can win or not, and he always manages to like get stronger and improve after every single fight. And he's just a really, really interesting character. I can't wait to see him in action and animated more. Okay, so here we just have some like animation. If you just want to talk about like animation wise, I mean, this stuff looks pretty good. Most of the stuff we've seen so far was just pretty much like still frames, but like this explosion, like the water and explosion, like this looks pretty good. I mean, you have some nice shapes, some good smoke plumes. The landscape art looks pretty good. This looks, digitally painted. I think this looks great. There's Genos up there. And now I believe Genos is actually part CG. Okay, so we got to talk about this for a minute. Genos is part CG. So his robot arms and legs and everything, all of his cyborg materials are going to be CG, it looks like, from this PV. So the rest of him is 2D. Now, why are they doing this? Well, I'll tell you this much. The robotic parts of Genos are insanely hard to draw, because not only is it like these crazy 3D objects protruding out of each other, you have all this like different gradients of shading and everything, but animating that is incredibly difficult. You have to be a genius level. You have to have a genius level understanding of geometry to be able to physically move around a complex object like that fluidly in 2D animation. It's very difficult. And it looks like maybe that was too hard for them. So they decided to make his arms, and you'll see later on in this PV, there's some more of that CG, which I don't really know how I feel about that, but I think what they did is they made this 3D model of Genos, and pretty much for the scenes that they have with him where they want to use CG, they pretty much just map 2D on top of him. So because you can see right here, this doesn't blend well. Like this arm popping out of the 2D clothing, the jacket, it definitely looks a little wonky, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, there's some shots in here as well where his arms like are covered up with lightning and it kind of masks it, so I'll talk about that in a second. Now this guy's in the very first episode. He's a monster that comes, he's attacking the city, and pretty much King walks up to him and scares him away, I believe. So, as we talked about King, he doesn't have any powers. He pretty much just uses intimidation most of the time, and if that doesn't work, he just runs away. Hero Association. Okay, so here we have Genos. So pretty much after that little lizard guy goes away, there is a giant like samurai robot that comes and wants to fight King, and pretty much King runs away, and Genos is the one that ends up fighting him. They actually have a really epic battle. Here you can see that Genos this looks like CG, definitely looks like CG. His arms here. This is the robot. The robot's pretty damn strong. Okay, so as you can see here, like if they're covering up his arm and lightning and stuff, like it masks the CG. It like that doesn't look too bad actually. And this animation of Genos is pretty fluid. So we'll see how it actually goes down. Like when the full season comes out, he's shooting his arm out there to punch the robot. And here's another shot of CG Genos. As you can see, all the robot parts of Genos are CG, and then they just draw on top of it the 2D art of him. I mean, I guess it was too difficult for them, or they wanted to save costs and time to do this, but this is definitely going to irk people the wrong way. Okay, that was pretty cool. So, yeah, I mean, when they cover it with smoke and lightning and dust and stuff, you can't really tell if it's fast moving. It doesn't look that bad, to be honest. I mean, it's not Madhouse, guys. It's nobody. There's no studio as good as Madhouse. In my opinion, they're the best in the world. But I mean, honestly, I mean, I think people are a little bit nitpicky. This really doesn't look that bad. So he's using his, machine gun punch there. And he has a really, really intense fight with this giant robot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, see, this shot really bothers me big time because, so I know somebody who is actually working on this season, working on the animation, and they told me, they are so behind. JC staff is really, really struggling. They're probably still working on the episodes. And the reason why this bothers me is, why in a PV are you just showing this super still shot of Saitama just talking? That worries me because I feel like they don't have anything else to show that's ready. And I hope that's not the case. But if you're trying to show off some stuff to get people hyped about the season, just showing this still shot of just some mouth flaps isn't the way to go. Okay, so here we have King, and this is the lizard monster we were showing earlier, and this is what King does. He just uses his intimidation. His heartbeat starts pounding so loud that everybody can hear it. They call it the King Engine. He really doesn't have any powers, but people say he has this ability called the King Engine, which is when he's getting ready to do battle, they hear this sound. But in reality, all that is his heart beating so fast and so loud because he's such a coward. And so pretty much he's just bluffing right here. And his heart is pounding. Everybody can hear it. And I think this guy gets scared and he actually ends up just running away. Okay, so here we have the robot guy again. And if we take a look, at the shading and everything, it doesn't look nearly as crisp as Madhouse from season 1. They're using some blended shading here. I don't think this is CG. But I mean, guys, nobody's going to be as good as Madhouse. So here he's punching. Genos is jumping away. They're going to have a really, really intense battle. It should be exciting. Now this chick, this is Blizzard. This is the younger sister of Tornado, the S rank number 2. So she's going to have a pretty intense part in this season as well, and she's actually going to encounter Saitama and want to fight against them, and they actually do have a little mini battle, but it gets interrupted by, I believe, Sonic and Genos. So she should have a lot of screen time in this season. A lot of people like her character because she's pretty hot, no doubt. She's curvy as hell, she's thick, and we should see a lot of her, I'm guessing, in episode 2. And there's Sonic, he'll come in as well. So there's a really interesting part that happens with Sonic. He uses his ultimate technique called Tenfold Funeral, and this is where he creates he moves so fast that he creates 10 after images of himself. And that's funny because we see Saitama copy it, and he does something called serious side jumps, and he jumps so fast left and right that he creates 100 images of himself, and Sonic can't believe it. I can't wait to see that animation. Nice little shot of Genos dropping in. That's pretty cool. And Garo again. So that's pretty much the end of it. And Saitama just jumps away with his groceries. I mean, mixed feelings about it. Some of the stuff looks really good. I don't really, the art definitely isn't the same as Madhouse. The compositing isn't either. I think the landscapes still look pretty good. For the most part, it still looks pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty much coming into this with low expectations, and I think that's why I can say that some of the stuff looks good. It looks better than I thought it would. But I am a little worried because, we're coming up on April. Right now it's March 19th. And if they're showing these still shots of mouth flaps and stuff of Saitama, it's don't you have anything else to show? And this only honestly looks like the first episode. Maybe episode 2 or 3 is in this as well. But there should be 12 episodes, I'm thinking. And they didn't show any of the later stuff. They didn't show any of the battles with Garo versus Metal Bat, which I really hope they get to. There you go, guys. One Punch Man Season 2. So I'm doing a gigantic video I'm going to release tomorrow on the entirety of One Punch Man Season 2. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications enabled because I'm going to break down the entire season and you guys are going to love that video. Very big video I've been working on for a while, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for that video. Thanks. Thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.